I asked you to come here today because we want to release our findings related to the March 19th officer-involved shooting in Lockland. I'll give you an idea of the order in which we're going to present information. We'll take questions at the end. I'm accompanied today by Lockland Police Chief Ott, and when you do ask your questions later, please just tell us who you would like to have answer it, so that we don't talk over each other. So, and thanks so much for coming here. I know it's very busy. We've got flooding all over the place. A plethora of streets are flooded. But we did just finish our review, and I really wanted to get these findings out quickly. So this incident started with a stolen car. And I'm going to take you through the timeline of events. We're going to show you what happened where on a map, and where the car was found. We're also going to have some body-worn camera video of the incident, and there's a lot of detail, so please just stick with me. We'll try to get through everything that we can. So let's start with the map. Okay, so you going to hear me if I walk over here? Is that all right? Okay. So this started on March 19th in the early morning hours, 2:26 a.m. A license plate belonging to a stolen car was detected, and Westchester police responded right up here on State Route 747. So the stolen vehicle proceeded south. It started to pick up speed. It ran through a red light, clearly very dangerous, even though it was late at night. But the officers were in pursuit. The vehicle then turned west to I-75 right here, and then did a loop-de-loo over here on Route 4, probably as an attempt to elude the chase. Followed it all the way back this way, going westbound, and the speeds were over 100 miles an hour. Clearly dangerous. The stolen vehicle then exited, went down Mosteller Road. That's when Westchester police stopped their pursuit, but Sharonville took over. And you can also see they exited Mosteller, went on Sharon Road, and then down Medallion Drive. That's a light industrial area in Sharonville, kind of windy roads. The car then went down to Evendale Drive. The Evendale police joined the pursuit by then, and an Evendale officer found the vehicle. It had crashed into a guardrail. All the doors were open and there was no one inside. So at that point, it changed into a search for the suspects in the vehicle. And at this point, a lot of different jurisdictions had responded. They all got onto the same communications channel at some point, so they could talk to each other and they could find each other. One of the people who responded was from Lockland, and that was the officer involved in this situation. He was driving up I-75 north, around the 13.9 mile marker. That's where the police officer saw Mr. Samuel Munyarutete walking southbound in the shoulder. Naturally, the officer stopped his car, lights flashing, sirens continuing to blare, and he did encounter Mr. Munyarutete. We do have some body-worn camera video that we're going to show you in a moment. The video is from the body-worn camera of a sheriff's deputy who responded along with his K-9 to search for the suspects in the weeds and the fields between the interstate and where they found the vehicle. In this video, you will be able to hear the radio transmissions from the Lockland officer as he encounters Mr. Munyarutete. As I said, you'll see the flashing lights of the Lockland patrol car. 18 seconds into the video, you'll start to hear some radio transmissions from the Laughlin officer. He'll say he's got something in his hands. He's not listening to my orders. At 48 seconds in, he says, step it up, please, trying to get some backup to the area. At about 1 minute, 7 seconds, Mr. Munyarutete approaches the Laughlin officer with a weapon in his hand that we later determine is a metal pipe or rod. And that's when we hear the shots fired. The K-9 and sheriff's deputy continue to approach the scene, and the officers then handcuff Mr. Munyarutete. Other law enforcement will arrive at the scene, start to render first aid, and you'll also see the officer involved in the shooting in the background is clearly deeply impacted by the incident. And finally, we'll show you a still shot of the weapon in Mr. Munyarutete's hands, and then I'll give you our conclusions. The bright light is the flashing lights.
Put your hands out straight. Put your hands out straight. Drop the weapon. Put your hands out away from you. Do it now. Put your hands out away from you.
So I know it's hard to see in here, but right here are his hands, and you can see the metal rod. Here is the taser on the ground. Our taser readout report does show it was fired before the revolver was used, or handgun.
Put your hands out. See where he's hit? See where he's hit? We need to patch him up. Can I have a gun show here? Shut down 75 more.
And this is the still shot, showing pretty clearly that he did have a weapon in his hands. It's never easy to see an incident like this, and you can see clearly the officer in the background was deeply impacted. From our review of this incident, we believe the officer was justified in his use of force, and we know that he did attempt to use non-lethal force first. Unfortunately, it was not successful. I met with the decedent's family this morning and explained what our findings are. They are absolutely devastated by the loss of their loved one, and we offer our condolences to them. I'm now going to ask Laughlin Police Chief Ott to take the stand here.
Thank you. Today may bring a wide range of emotions for the family, our officers, and our community, especially our growing immigrant community who may feel especially impacted. We hear these concerns and we are continuing to maintain open lines of communication with both the family and community leaders to ensure that everyone is heard and supported as we move forward. With the prosecutor's announcement today that there will be no charges filed, and following our policy, I have convened a use of force review panel. This panel is staffed with internal and external experts from surrounding jurisdictions to do a thorough review. This is a standard process to make sure our policies were followed and to see if we need to make any changes to better serve our community. We will share the findings publicly when they are finalized. We know many have questions about body-worn cameras. We've been working on deploying cameras to all officers and expect each officer to have one by mid-April. This is a process we started in the fall and signed a contract at the beginning of this year. It's been a priority for us. We've also heard concerns about a potential language barrier. In our ongoing communications with community leaders, we will look for ways to better support officers in dynamic and evolving situations. We know there is no easy solution, but we're always working to improve. This has been a challenging time for many in our community. We know trust is not built in a single moment, it's a process. We will continue to be open, transparent, and committed to learning from this experience.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
We're ready for questions if you have any.
Prosecutor Pulich, what is the Mr. Tete, was he connected to the stolen, or the car chase? I'm sorry, is that the finding at this point, or do we know?
We don't have a solid conclusion on that, but we don't really think so at this point. It's impossible for us to connect him at this point. Yes.
Do you know if the deceased was suffering from any sort of like mental health issues, or what were the factors that you can find that led to this complication in the first place?
We have the scope of our investigation, our review is pretty narrow, and we have no evidence or any documentation on his mental state.
And speaking to that car chase, is that case still active then, I assume? I mean,
Yes,
somebody stole it.
as far as I know.
Okay. So it really sounds like, gosh, what a chance set of circumstances to be on the highway too. It's odd, I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's just kind of conjecturing as to what he might have been doing on the highway. It's an odd place to be at that time of the night
Yeah.
or overnight hours.
We don't know why he was there. It's certainly a tragedy all around.
Chief, can we, real quick to you, if you don't mind, your statement, what you just said, obviously impactful. And what's the message, considering you have such a growing immigrant population as you've referenced, and different, so we understand this gentleman was from the Congo, the Mauritanian population. There's always fear in the law enforcement community when something like this happens that members of these immigrant communities might be reluctant to come forward and share information that might help keep everyone safe. Just along those lines, I mean, you talked about that. How important is it that people not lose faith in the police ability to keep people safe?
Sure. We think it's very important, and that's why we've made it a priority to reach out to the community leaders in our immigrant population to make sure that we understand what their concerns are and to support them throughout this process as best we can, because it has been a challenging experience for everybody involved.
can't imagine on the language front, just the last thing I can think to ask, that seems really like a complicated thing to even begin to address, to have every officer, you have no 15 different commands and different language. I mean, that's not, doesn't seem practical, but this seemed to be a situation where it got out of control very quickly, at least, not out of control, but at least it got heated very quickly. What are some remedies, do you think?
Like we had mentioned before, I can't really speculate as into what role the language barrier may have played into how the events unfolded that morning. As part of our process with talking with the community leaders, we're again looking for ways we can better support officers and pair enhanced resources with those dynamic and evolving situations that are faced on a daily basis.
Chief, when was the last time you had an officer involved shooting in your jurisdiction?
It's been a number of years. I don't know the exact year that would be. I've been chief for 18 months and it hasn't happened during my time.
And the chief was with me at the family's home, and they were supported by some members of the long-time residents of the Woodlawn community, as well as their pastor. So they certainly seem to have a support network in place.
Prosecutor, really quick, one more for me, that I
Yeah.
understand a colleague said that a couple of days prior in Woodlawn, that there had been an incident involving this gentleman making some kind of threatening action and so forth. Has there been some unpacking of that to think that, were there ever charges filed in that case? Had there been an intention and this might not have happened? Or, it's the next question, state of mind, I know you can't speculate at what was going on in his mind, but what role did that play in your review of this matter?
So you're correct, Mr. Munyarutete was arrested for assault. It's a misdemeanor. He was taken down to the jail, had to wait a couple days because I believe it happened on a Friday, and had to get a translator in. That took a little bit of time. He was released Monday, the 17th, on an OR bond. And as far as we know, the next encounter he had with any law enforcement was the March 19th in the early morning. Now, I and several of my assistant prosecutors did respond to the site of the shooting that morning. And I could see everything that the local law enforcement was doing at that time, including the coroner's office was there too. So we just didn't have any answers. It's just very unfortunate.
I have one more for the chief. Could you talk a little bit about what you've heard from the community, the Congolese or Mauritanian community? I know that there's probably some cultural differences in terms of, in their countries, like police maybe mean a different thing. How can you bridge the trust gap that might be there based on the kind of cultural differences?
Sure. I think you bridge that trust gap by maintaining that open line of communication with them. We make it a priority to go out on foot patrol, speak to the community leaders to make sure we understand what their concerns are on a daily basis. So, we work with them to help them understand and provide them any answers that they might have so that we can build that relationship that is necessary in law enforcement.
Can you give us any details about the officer? I assume his name's being withheld for Marcy's Law, and can you tell us maybe how long he's been on the force? And is he still on leave? When is he expected to return?
Sure. The officer's attorney has invoked Marcy's Law. So under Ohio law, I have to abide by that directive. Our focus right now is on completing our internal review to ensure that our policies were followed and see if there's any changes that can be made to better serve our community. When I have that report and it's been finalized, we'll have a better timeline on when the officer will be able to return. He is currently still on administrative leave throughout this process.
Go ahead.
Can you talk about, and BCI's investigating also, is there a status on that?
BCI is continuing their investigation, and when it's complete, we'll have an opportunity to review it.
For the sake of clarity, Prosecutor Village, is it, you said earlier, my colleagues were messaging, metal rod or a pipe, is there a specific term that you prefer that we use? Obviously, you've seen the picture, it looks like it could be either, but what would you go with?
To me, it looked like a rod, but I didn't get to pick it up and examine it, so it might also be a pipe as
It's
well.
still something you would, clearly could be used as a weapon.
Oh, absolutely. If this long, and he was holding it like a weapon and charging at the officer.
Do you know, and I'm just trying, how many minutes, so the crash happens, and again, we're thinking that's not connected, so I guess it's sort of maybe I'll retract this question, because had there been a connection to like how long would that have been happening afterwards, but, never mind. Because clearly the Laughlin officer was just on heightened alert that something had happened up there, so you see this gentleman walking, and it's, probably the thought is, well, this could be connected, so anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Okay, so I'm trying to find on my timeline where when they found the crashed vehicle, and I want to say it was like 2:44 a.m., something around that. Do we have it? So that'd be down here.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness, 2:44 a.m. Yes, and so the Laughlin officer was hearing about it, probably because all the agencies got on the same channel, and he heard about it, so he was responding to assist. And if Mr. Munyawatete was not involved in that vehicle, then it was just a horrible circumstance. And
again, you're saying at this point it doesn't appear that he was. That's sort of.
we have no evidence to suggest that he was.
All right, you guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
I have a press release for everybody. There's some good timeline stuff in there, okay?
Yes,
So you can really have a better understanding of what that looks like, start to finish.
Perfect, thank you.
It will say, in between the taser and the shooting, 1 minute.
1 minute from the taser application trying to subdue him and then.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that
wow.
taser was unsuccessful, as the prosecutor said.
Yes, okay, thank you. Huh. That's a lot.
Yes, it was. This is gonna be sent out by email. You guys are gonna get the still photo, the copy of the audio and the video,
Hey Sherry,
and the map.
Okay, perfect.
hey Sherry,
Yes.
how long has this